vision of the future, of the world in 2025 or 2040, I couldn't develop the inner compass needed by a leader who seeks to bring about major social change, and I was out of good ideas. So I stepped away from SEIU, and aside from my work with Simpson Bowles, I spent the next year healing, recharging, and thinking about new ways I might help the people I cared about. At the end of that year, I embarked on what became a 4-year journey to discover the future of jobs, work, and the American dream. My journey coincided with significant economic trends, a jobless recovery, and the concentration of more and more wealth in the hands of fewer and fewer people. It took place during an era of political gridlock that devastated the middle class and threatened the economy as a whole. Wages were stagnant. People had to work 2 or 3 jobs to stay afloat. Students were coming out of college thousands of dollars in debt and with no substantial job prospects. For them, the idea of owning their own home and creating a better future for their children had become the American pipe dream. Early on, I saw that unions would play only a limited role in shaping the 21st century economy, not only because unions are typically slow to adapt, but also because the economy is being transformed by new technologies that will automate more tasks and require fewer full-time jobs and marginalize the role of collective bargaining, leaving a dearth of dues-paying union members. Already, the new landscape of work is populated by free agents and temporary workers who have more freedom and flexibility in their work life, but no job security and significantly less leverage with the people and companies who hire them. My focus turned to larger questions. If there are significantly fewer jobs and less work available in the future, how will people make a living, spend their time, and find purpose in their lives? Also, how can we keep the income gap from growing so wide that it erupts into social discord and upheaval? I began looking for an idea that could unite all Americans and call us to a higher national purpose. The old American dream, the one that had spoken so deeply to my parents' generation and my own, had been discredited by current events and decades of stagnating wages. We needed a new American dream, one that offers a vision of the life we can genuinely aspire to, strive for, and pass on as a birthright and inspiration to our children and future generations of Americans. And if I came upon that unifying idea, my question to myself and others would be, how can we organize our economy and social institutions so that this new American dream becomes achievable for everyone? Along the way, I came across a potential answer to these questions. I'll detail what a Universal Basic Income, UBI, is later in this audiobook. For now, imagine a check coming in the mail each month to every single American, whether they work or not, with sufficient money to eradicate poverty and give all Americans the opportunity to achieve their dreams. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. To appreciate why a UBI may be the most practical solution to our economic problems, and one that most, if not all, of our country's political parties can potentially embrace, it will be helpful to know about the perspective I gained while attempting to create major social change during labor's most turbulent and transitional years. Several years ago, in an interview with Washington Post reporter Ezra Klein, I called the labor movement the greatest middle-class job-creating mechanism that we have ever had in America that doesn't cost taxpayers a dime. Here's what I meant. There was nothing inherently valuable about taking a pickaxe, putting a light on your head, traveling down the depths of a coal shaft, and banging that axe against a wall to extract coal. And yet, in West Virginia, coal mining built a middle class. Not because the coal miners had unique skills or went to college, but because they belonged to a union. That was true in America's steel mills and on its assembly lines, on its railroads, and on its loading docks.